Kia ora, my name's Sarah Scott. My mother, Elizabeth, would have been in her mid-70s when she first started to get serious memory problems. And at that time, she was caring for my father, who was 10 years older and had health problems as well. And they were both living out in the country, a long way from family. So it was quite difficult. One of the things that was really helpful for me when I was first learning about how to support someone with memory problems was a tip sheet that somebody gave me. And it had 3 things on it, and I remember it really clearly. It said, don't remind people that they've forgotten. Don't pick people up on their lapses in memory. And I get that because you just feel like you're failing all the time. It's just completely demoralizing. The second one was, don't ask questions that are reliant on short-term memory. So it's no good asking someone what they had for breakfast, because they won't be able to tell you. But it's amazing how much of our conversation is about that stuff, but it doesn't need to be. So you have to teach yourself not to do that. And the third one was, don't take it personally. So whatever it is, don't take it personally, because living with dementia and supporting someone with dementia are both really hard. People get upset and angry and frustrated and all those things, and you just have to think, this is the disease, this is the illness, and you have to, I think the tip sheet talked about elevating your level of graciousness, which I thought was rather lovely, about deciding that you weren't going to get annoyed about it. And sometimes, when it got really difficult, you can just decide to just quietly leave the room for a minute and come back in 5 minutes. And there's not many great things about dementia, but one of them is that probably will it passed. Yeah. So those were things. I actually had that list in the early days. I had that by the phone to remind me when Mum was living back home, and I was in all the phone calls and I was really struggling and I was trying to learn how to do these new things. I had that with me. But those were the golden rules. And they worked all the way through for Mum and me. When Mum was living back home at her house independently, we mostly communicated by phone. She would ring me when she was in a tricky spot, and I would ring her in the evenings to check. We also communicated a bit I wrote letters sometimes, so she would have something written. But then I communicated through other people. So there were people who were involved in Mum and Dad's life, and I started being in close touch with them because I could relay messages. They could let me know what was happening. The key thing that helped was Mum's diary, and that was a long-standing habit of hers, so it worked. Unlike the whiteboard, which was not a long-standing habit, which was a complete fail. And it wasn't something she was going to learn at that stage. But the diary was perfect, as long as it was relatively easy then, because the phone was a landline. So the diary lived by the phone. I think it was really reassuring for Mum to have something solid to hold on to that was written down, where you're up to all what's happening, to have something in black and white in writing that you can refer to. Oh yes, that's what's happening. In terms of supporting Mum when she was living independently down south with Dad, one of the things that was most helpful was the person that she had got as a cleaner a few years earlier, and she became like a home help person and a friend, and she learned about how dementia worked, and she was a really helpful support. There was also a person who had been a tramping friend of my father's, and he would just come and take Dad for a walk, and that would give my mum a break. It would get my father out, and that was really helpful. And then there were family friends, and they were hugely helpful. They would come around and check to see Mum and Dad were okay. They would listen to Mum about how things were. That was really important, having someone she could talk to, and troubleshooting, because things would go wrong. When you're having problems with your memory, it's really hard to problem solve and to remember where you're up to with the problem solving even. So they would help with that and keep in touch with me. So those people were amazing because they communicated with me. One of them was a childhood friend of mine, and she was extraordinary.